Hello everyone, welcome again. Well, in this video, we will do the code optimization as well as we will write a framework class for handling the grid. So if you consider the current example where we are trying to fetch the value of a column based on the row and column index. Same thing I will do with the help of a framework class. So inside the helper package, I will add a class called grid helper. Now this class will extend from framework class, that is start WebDriver. So in our example, based on the locator which we supplied for the table as well as the row and the column index, we will fetch the value of that column and return. So the return type of the method should be string, as we are fetching a string value. Let's say the name is get column value, and the parameter to this method will be the row index, the column index, and the locator which will uniquely identify that table. So I will use string locator int row int column. Okay. Now if you look at the table XPath, this is the part which you uniquely identify the table, and the rest of the part, that is tbody and tr, are same for every column. Okay, the only things which got changed is row and the column. So here I will write one more method which will give us the entire string constructed based on the parameter supply. So we don't need to hard code this thing inside our method. Okay, so here I will use static string get table XPath, and again the input parameter to this method will be this 3. So now I know that the locator is a unique identifier which will locate the table, so locator plus, and also we know that all the things will be present inside the tbody in tr and td, so this will be the rest of the part, and the based on the row index and the column index we will change the row and column. Okay, now inside this, first of all I will create a string table XPath. So based on this value, I'm going to construct the XPath first. So get table XPath, and these are the value I'm going to supply. After that, string value which will contain the value from the column. Now here I will put a if check. If generic helper, again which is coming from our framework, is element present. Okay, so first of all I will check with this XPath which is given by the method called getTableXPath, is there any element present inside the web page? If it is present, fetch its value, otherwise return me the null string. So I will use by.xpath and the table XPath. If it is present, then value equal to driver dot find element by.xpath table XPath dot get text. As we know that this line of code is going to return me a reference of web element, and web element has a method called get text to read the string value, and I'm going to return this value. Okay, so in our example I will just comment out this piece of code and just call the method called grid helper dot get column value. The locator will be this which uniquely identify the table, and let's say first row fourth column. Okay, and as this method is going to return me a string, so I am going to put a sys out here. Inside this, the method, I will put a breakpoint here, and inside our method this should be written. Okay, and run this script in debug mode. So let me rerun it again. So it has hit the debug point. First I will get the XPath based on the locator, row and column. So if I do Control Shift I, so this is the XPath. Okay. Then I will check whether the element is present or not. So it is present, get the text and return the value. So this is the value. Okay. Now the next method which I'm going to write will print all the value present inside the grid. Okay. So in our previous case, we have hard-coded the range of row and column. But in this case, we will just apply the locator and it will print all the value of the table or the grid. So public static void get all values, and the parameter to this method is only the locator. Now in this case, the unknowns are the row and the column. So every time whenever I do the iteration, I need to check whether there is an element with this row index and this column index. If it is there, then only proceed, otherwise break the loop. So first of all, we'll put int row equal to 1, int column equal to 1. Now as I don't know how many iteration I need, so that's why I will use the while loop. While generic helper is element present by dot xpath get table xpath locator row and column. Okay. After this, again one more while loop which will be for column. So for this, the outer loop is for iterating through row, the inner loop is for iterating through column. So here I will use again our framework method, that is get column value. So sys out get column value locator row and column. After printing the value of the first column, I will increase the column value by 1. Okay. So when the loop is done, I will increase the row value and again set the column as 1. Okay. Now here the outer loop is iterating over the row and the inner loop is iterating through the column. So that's why I'm increasing the value. So whenever it iterate, first it will check whether the element is present or not. If it is present, then print its value and increase the column. If it is not present, it will break from here and increase the row value, and again the same logic will apply here. The reason why I did column equal to 1 is because for every row the column index will start from 1. Okay. So I'm going to put a breakpoint here, remove the breakpoint from old method. Here I will just call grid helper dot get all values. The locator is this. Run this script in debug mode. So first it will check whether the element is present or not. It is present, then print the value, then increase the column. So column is 2 now and row is 1 now. So row is 1, column is 2. Then second column, third column, fourth column, fifth column. So there is no sixth column. That's why the inner loop breaks and increase the row value, setting the column value as 1. So now we are iterating for the second row. So again second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, sixth row, seventh row, eighth row, 9, 10, and so on. Okay, so it will keep on iterating until all the rows are finished inside this table or not. So we have so many number of rows, so it will iterate for every rows. Okay, so I'm going to stop this script. So in this manner you can design the framework class for handling the grid. So from the user perspective, it will be very easy to deal with the grid, because all he need to do is to supply the locator and the row and the column value. Okay, so this is the framework method for the basic implementation of table. Okay, in our next video we will talk about the little more complex grid where we have a button inside the column. So that's all for this video, and thanks for watching.